Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com with us now as action going on down south, man, at the Peach Jam, Alec. It's been going on all week, but it's starting to heat up a little bit. Names like Deshaun Harris-Smith, who was at it yesterday. Probably, would you say that I guess you can't say he's the highest priority because of people like Arrington Page, but he's in that group of two or three that are what I would call the quote or the core priority right now.
Yeah, Indiana's kind of, zoned in on 4 to 5 guys here to wrap up 23. Obviously, the two that you just mentioned, Jamie Kaiser, those three are all on official visits to Indiana next week. So we're going to basically get a lot more clarity of where Indiana stands in about 7 to 10 days after those official visits wrap up, especially for guys like Jamie Kaiser and Deshaun Harris Smith. Those two are in a kind of a quicker decision-making process than a guy like Arrington Page, who is still probably going to end up committing in the fall. You're not looking at any springtime commitments from this core group, which is a good thing for Indiana. And then you also have TJ Power, who obviously has been a huge priority for Indiana over the last couple of months, especially in the summer. A guy who got a Duke offer, Kansas offer, UCLA offer, and North Carolina offer, all after the first live period in July. And that's kind of, throwing a wrench into things when it comes to his recruitment. A guy who has already taken a few official visits, but was only looking, he told me, only looking to take maybe 2 or 3 senior year official visits, opposed to the 5 that you do get, because he was pretty zoned in on a couple different schools, Indiana being one of them. But with these recent offers, kind of pump the brakes. He's going to look at scheduling those visits after Peach Jam wraps up this week. So we'll learn a little bit more about where Indiana stands, especially if they do get a visit or if they don't. But those are the 5 guys. Obviously, you have Xavier Booker in there as well, but no visits scheduled at the moment. So those are the core group of guys that Indiana's looking at for 2023. And it wouldn't surprise me to hear maybe 1 or 2 newer names pop up here as we get into the spring, because Mike Woodson loves to get a spring commitment from a late, either unsigned guy or a late bloomer. But for right now, those are the main guys, and those are going to remain the core guys for 2023.
And they are putting a full court press on them as they are out in force down at North Augusta. I know that all 4 coaches there yesterday, Kenya Hunter, Coach Coach Woodson, of course, and Brian Walsh, all out. Now, I'm assuming someone is going to have to go out to California.
At the last night, Kenya Hunter and Mike Woodson flew out there because Jamie Kaiser on the Adidas circuit is playing out there. Obviously, you have some other names, but he's the key guy outside of obviously committed point guard Gabe Cupps, who's out there. But obviously, with the time change, they get to basically be in 2 places at once and fly across the country for that, because he had it was about a 6 o'clock tip Eastern time for his one game yesterday. So they were able to catch a little bit of the early games in Augusta and then fly out. So they're there this today. Probably will make another change, get back to the Midwest here at some point this weekend. But that's the good thing about this live period starting on Wednesday. Typically, you only get about 2.5 days for these live periods, a Friday to Sunday. Here, to kind of wrap things up in the summer, you get 5 days. So you get to see a lot of guys. You get to put your staff in 4 to 5 different locations. And that's the good thing about this last live period is you get to see a lot of guys in a lot of different days.
And for Indiana, they're obviously getting to see them before 3 very important names come in. I can't stress that enough, as a matter of fact. Probably the 3 biggest names to come in on a visit this year, maybe because they want nothing more than to land Deshaun Harris Smith, Jamie Kaiser, and Arrington Page. If they could add those 3 to what they have, this would be another. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I don't know if it would be a top 10 class, but I'm thinking it would have to be damn close. And then I prognosticating, looking a little forward down the road, thinking that Indiana is going to end up with Sicily and Harrelson. And I just start thinking of the talent that's being stacked, which is exactly what Indiana has not been able to do for years. Stacking elite talent. And that's what Kansas has been able to do. Kentucky, Duke, yada, yada, yada. It's what Indiana used to do. This is what gets Indiana back to being Indiana. I'm not saying they're not going to have a very successful year this year. I'm expecting that. But the more than that, that comes later. That comes when you have a great class that is buoyed by great classes. And that is what Mike Woodson is trying to set them up for right now, because they have a good chance of landing those guys, especially with other spots being filled up on other teams. But Indiana it looks like a winner now. And I think that these guys see that. Even though they haven't won anything yet, that would be helpful had they were coming off of something. But I think a lot of these guys see the writing on the wall and where this program is going.
Well, yeah, they see the confidence in the entire coaching staff, especially Mike Woodson, a guy who, is pretty confident no matter when he gets involved in a recruitment that he is going to be able to win that recruitment. He's done it with Tamar Bates. He did it with Malik Renault. He kind of swooped in when he took over for Archie Miller and made Indiana a major player for Jalen Hood-Schifino. So he's won almost every single recruitment that he's put both feet in. But much different than Archie Miller, he also doesn't feel the need to wait till the last second to get involved, but he also doesn't feel the need to get involved right away. He kind of goes at his own pace, and like I said, knows that if he wants a kid, he's going to get him. And so you just need to continue to do that. But yeah, going back to kind of who they've been prioritizing right this week, they go 4 deep to kick things off during the live period for TJ Power. Things, lined up perfectly for him to have a 12:30 tip when the live period started at noon on Wednesday. I would be interested to see if that played out. If multiple different IU guys were playing at the same time, I don't think Indiana would have gone 4 deep for him. But nonetheless, that made a huge impact on TJ Power. Just talking to him briefly after that game, he definitely noticed it. He definitely said that it made an impact on him. Now we'll see what happens when he does decide to schedule some visits. But then also going 4 deep to Deshaun Harris-Smith, who has now become a huge priority for them with an official visit next week, and then go 2 deep again for him yesterday. They've put him up in that top bucket. But then you look at guys like Arrington Page, who's obviously not able to play this week out with an injury. Doesn't necessarily hurt Indiana that way, since they already have a visit scheduled for him, and then go out to see Jamie Kaiser. So they're putting all their eggs in a couple different baskets, which is not typically something that we've seen from Indiana. It's usually 1 or 2 guys that they're kind of fighting for. Now you have 5 or 6 who Indiana's really heavily involved with and has a good shot of landing all around. But to your point, to go a little deeper into the 25 class, right? Jalen Harrelson, Trent Sisley both have junior or rising sophomore visits coming up to Indiana in August, when sophomores are allowed to begin taking visits August 1st. Harrelson will be there August 1st. Sicily will be there August 2nd. They're both visiting Purdue the other days. So Sicily goes from Purdue to Indiana, and then Harrelson goes from Indiana to Purdue. Those 2 teams obviously seem to be the 2 most heavily involved in both of their recruitments. But Harrelson's going to be a national prospect here. We've already seen multiple different Midwestern schools offer after that second June period, and then first live period in July. So we're going to see more ACC schools. I'm not too worried about him getting a bunch of different offers. And then I think Sicily will stay more kind of in the Midwest in terms of the offers that he does get. Super skilled, obviously, but just does not have the same kind of flash that you see in a Jalen Harrelson, a 6'6" point guard who can pretty much do just about anything you want right now.
Does he have an offer from Iowa yet?
No.
He will.
And so
I assure you.
and so you look at those two, and Indiana went 4 deep back-to-back days for both of them. You don't normally do that for class of 2025 guys. So that just shows you exactly what Indiana thinks out of those two guys. But obviously, how much they're prioritizing class of 2025 guys when a lot of people are still, focused on 2023 prospects.
Well, these two, this is a pair that anybody's going to want to have as a group, as a pair, because they're different players. They're not. It's not a 1-2 here. It's more like a 1-1-3 with Sisley being a wing. He's more of a 3, and then but is Harrelson 6'7"?
About 6'6", 6'7", yeah.
Wow. I
And
mean,
he has the length to show it.
he's a point guard, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what's so intriguing about him, is because he is so skilled, so athletic, but he's also so big, and he has such a good
he
frame
is,
for.
and not just big by, and Alex is not talking about just big by being 6'6", 6'7". He is thick. He looks like a fullback.
Yeah, and he has a terrific frame, and that's why so many programs are now starting to get more involved, because they have seen him more. Right? Obviously, these coaches aren't going to be able to see him when they're not in the state. And yes, yeah, I see the comment down there. Iowa did offer both of them after the first July live period, so they both got offers there, but obviously brand new into that recruitment. But yeah, a lot of these other schools outside of Indiana haven't been able to see these prospects that Indiana has, and kind of put both feet already in that recruitment. So Indiana definitely has a leg up when it comes to both of them. I think the Jalen Harrelson push is going to be a little bit stronger, just with his skill set that Indiana really wants out of a point guard. Sicily shot the ball well from three in the summer so far, about 41-42%. So much better than I think a lot of people were expecting. But he needs to do that consistently. Doesn't play with some of the best talent on his roster at the high school level. So we'll see what it turns out to be next year when he gets back there. But yeah, this summer he's had a terrific summer. I think turned a lot of heads when it comes to his development over the past 6 to 8 months.